Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Chill Out Puzzle Time here in Islands of Insight, which I need very badly, and hopefully, at least some of you will also enjoy and benefit from. If I had to be honest, though, I am doing this for me. Anyway, picking up right where we left off, we were doing this puzzle, we'd gotten it to about this point, and I think pretty conclusively proven that this line cannot connect straight down to the black cells in the corner here because there's no version of a vertical connection between these two things that doesn't fall afoul of the forbidden pattern when also trying to connect to the four shape over here, right? Like, even if we do something like this where we're arcing around some white space, like, it is still the case that all of these cells are illegal because they all make some rotation of the pattern. If we come out to here, and there's also the issue that we are like necessarily going to have to close up around these white shapes as well, right? Because it's going to be like, there's part of me that's thinking, hey, you know, if we do like this, that connects all the black cells. But we're gonna have some real problems with the white shapes here. I mean, like, this white shape, we can solve it by just doing that, right? But obviously these ones up here are problematic. First of all, if this one doesn't just extend to the wall, then we have to figure out how to put some black cells up here. What would that look like if this doesn't go to the wall? Yeah, I think this is core to figuring out what the rest of this puzzle is figuring out what these two white shapes are going to look like. Because if this just extends straight down here, I don't think there's any way for us to get a black shape into the corner, right? This cell would have to be black. These two things have to be true in that case. And then I guess like this would have to be true here. It's like you connect to this. There's no way to reach up and also down without forming the shape, right? And obviously, if you do this and there's this one black cell hanging here, then you have like some serious problems. So I'm pretty sure this is going to have to go all the way out to the wall and have a black cell here limiting the line of sight of this tile. So that being the case, there's only enough room for this to extend to the left once. This will have to be white. And the question is whether the last cell here is that one or that one. If it's this one, well, I think we've already proven that it can't be this one, right? Because if it's this one, then we have to connect to the bottom of the puzzle to wrap the black line around here. And that means there's no way to connect. Yeah, there's no way to connect the corner without making the forbidden shape. So we're going to have to wrap like around and through. We have to touch that. So like that satisfies that cell's requirements. Obviously we can't put a black cell there. And then, I mean, this is still available to us. I think this makes sense. Yeah, okay. Real answer. Cool. Logic grid mastery, slowly climbing. Unlike me, rapidly falling. Okay, I think that's all that was up here though, right? So all that's left is to drop down and continue working the the line of puzzles down there. By the way, seeing that lore fragment over there a second ago reminded me. Let me show you something that I discovered while playing around in the menus here. So this is the Serene Deluge part of the map. It describes just this highlighted area of the mainland and the enclaves connected thereto. Obviously, there are 4 other big mainland chunks. This listing of lore fragments, this number of lore fragments here, is just the ones that are in the Serene Deluge areas. There's also that many associated with the Wildwood, that many to Autumn Falls, that many to Lucent Waters, and that many to Verdant Glen. There's too many lore fragments to ever be able to like form a picture of what's going on. I think they may have gone a little bit too hard with splitting the idea of their story up and just kind of distributing it all over the world. And I think that's a bummer, but I also think it's not actually all that strongly bad for the game. And I hate I think it's not really a problem because the story is kind of like extremely whatever. It's just not very compelling. And so I hate to give them a pass because they did a bad job in a way, but I think that is what's happening here. Okay, so, all right, well, this one's obvious. There's not enough, the number here is not high enough to allow this to connect to the corners. I think we're going to be taking on some like easier learning type puzzles here, well after having done more difficult puzzles utilizing those same material, the same principles. Ooh, this is neat. Okay. So, gosh, how do you start cracking this? So this thing has to reach out and grab 5 other cells around it. Obviously, it can't reach this far, but it could reach as far as this. Oh, actually, it can't reach that far either. So, like, this is how you start. We actually hard know what that 6 shape is. Okay, that's something. That's worth working. So, we also know a lot of the shapes emerging from it, right? Like, this 3 is already settled. Actually, all of the 4s are already settled, and this 4 is settled now. And that's 1, 2, 3. So you're satisfied. You need to be able to see one other black cell, which you can. Yeah, it may be the case that solving that one piece of information gave us the entire puzzle. Like, this will make that 3 work. This 3 is already set. This 2 is already set. This 3 and this 3. This 4 needs to be able to see 4 cells in total. Yeah, you're good. You have 4 cells. There's something kind of really satisfying, if I'm honest, about just ticking these off. Oh yeah, you can already see 3 cells. You need that to be black. Okay. And I really like the way the puzzle sequences in this area make use of the game's traversal stuff. Okay, tiles remaining 1. Well, so obviously if this reaches across, that spends 4, in which case this would be black, because it can't reach to here. But you also could just do the whole vertical line as 1. So hold on. Like, this is a legal drawing of this shape. This is a legal drawing of this shape. And this is a legal drawing of this shape. This is the only, yeah, this is the only square that's common to all of them. Ah, shit. All right, I think we can probably just jump that high. Or, in fact, like much, much higher than that. I am consistently surprised by the distance that we get off of the off of the super jump. Okay, so what we know about this is that the 4 has to extend entirely in one direction. And that it will necessarily make these two cells black, right? Because the 2 will be completed by the 4 going off in one direction, and if the 4 went off in both directions, it would overload the thing. The 6 must go off in both directions because the number is so high, and that will also set these both to black. And I guess that means we know these are both white. The underclued grids remain one of my favorite ideas that we've seen so far in the game, although they are not always necessarily, fascinating themselves. Okay, so this cell's got to be black no matter what, right? Because if the 5 extends across the top, the white is satisfied, and if the 5 extends down here, this being white would overload the 2. So that runs up to there. I still say this game is like, what a strange thing they built. What a strange series of decisions they made. What is the best way to get over there? Okay, so this cell is white no matter what, right? You can fill all the other directions in all the way, and that's necessarily this is white, which means these are all necessarily black. So what else is... What other tile is known 100%? If this went all the way down, it would extend to 5. Oh, well, I guess this tile, right? Because if this is black, then there's only room for, yeah. Yeah, obvious. And then over to here. Huh, okay. Is it this one? It feels like... Because, you could draw the 5 as a vertical line and make this black. You could draw... If this square is white, it makes all these black necessarily. But also, these could just be white, right? Couldn't those be the 3 and then have these 2 be black? Okay, well, the 4 is so far in the corner that one of these 2 must be white. At least. Could be both, but at least one of them. Which tells us what? Not a whole hell of a lot, actually. Well, no, I'm sorry. Okay, if these 2 must be white, then this is black. Because connecting here would overload the 3, then. Yeah, obviously. Come on now. Oh, this thing had a split. I see. This is a really neat way to distribute like this. I know we've seen things more or less like this. Like, this is not doing anything different than, say, Patrick's Parabox was doing in the way that it, had a path that you followed through each puzzle world that had branches. But I like the combination of this with the 3D world traversal stuff. I wish that there was more... Honestly, what I would really like is if there was more of a Metroidvania element to it. That would be super rad. Okay, anyway. 6s and 4s and 3s. So... what do we know for certain? All right, if the 6 can see all the way up there, this cell still must be white. And if this cell is white, it means these cells are black, which means this is the shape of that 6. No, it's not. Sorry. This is the shape of that 6. That's how many 6 is. So that's the shape of the 4. Nope, the 4. That's 4 right there. Oh, boy. All right. Counting is borderline impossible. Everybody knows that. On this side, we're not so lucky. The 6 actually could extend all the way over here without reaching out to touch the 3. We don't know. It is not certain. So, with that being the case, what do we know for certain? The 4 could extend all the way out here without reaching over to touch the 6. Well, sorry, no, the 6 can't extend all the way over here because we can't overload the 4, right? At most, these cells are white on this side, which means these cells have to be white over here. And I think actually that's necessarily the shape of the 6 again. The fact that there's all this extra space doesn't matter because of all the limitations, right? Those are the same puzzle, it turns out. No, don't fall off the... Oh, I'm so clumsy. Okay, that goes over to there. Wow. Hello, ghost. Okay, how much is this the exact same puzzle? Not much. So we know the 3 is not connected to the 6. One of these two is black. Which means that the 6, like, at most can have one tile out here. And in fact, this must be true because otherwise we're overloading the 5. Right, so we know that. Then we also know this. And the 3 could extend in a variety of directions there. Okay. So there is enough room for the 7 to extend directly upward. And in fact, that's true of all of these. They all could extend directly upward. If the 7 extends out to the side, it can only extend out to one of these corners, because otherwise we'd be overloading. Like, this is legal. And if you do that, it is still the case that this and this have to be white. Yeah, no matter what, those cells have to be white. If you go out to this corner, it's even more than that. And obviously, if you go all the way across the room, then you're just, it's all of them. There are 7 puzzles remaining in this area, and I think we've now done all of the puzzles that were connected by that line. All of the little lasers are gold. How are there 7 more puzzles in this area? I mean, obviously there's hidden ring stuff going on. There could be more. There could be more hidden rings. Do I think there are 7 more hidden rings? Where would they be? As you can see, I tried to be quite thorough with them. There's a lot of them that are just kind of like hanging out in space. Yeah, these areas are really, really, really packed. And completionism is extremely non-trivial. And I do appreciate that. That's a thing I like quite a lot, actually. So yeah, you can see I was trying to like watch for where you see the disturbances around the peaks of the spires, but definitely not every peak has a ring. Well, all right. Oh, hey. Hey now, look at that, just hiding away. Ooh, don't make this pattern. That's interesting. Or its rotations, mind. So, like, this has to reach out to one side. It also has to reach out to the other side. It can't do just one. And then we have to be a little bit careful with how we handle this next part, too. So, like, if we have this... It could build out 2 squares in one direction, or it could build out 1 square in one of each. But if it does, then we're pinning this thing. No matter which way this draws out, the one in the corner has to draw out in the same direction, right? To avoid this occurring. But we're gonna end up with this this problem recurring all the way up the slide, right? Because like if we do this, then yeah, so it's gonna be this thing all the way up. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. Yeah, because that creates problems. I was thinking like, so the 5 will look like that. But yeah, if you do that, then the ones further up the chain can see way too much. Hold on a second here. I thought I understood a thing. So if I put this here, this also has to be white. And we just covered why that... Well, I mean, actually, that works fine as long as I just block this off now. Yeah, we can make this shape. We can just form a little corner for these blocks. And then same thing here. This has to go in both directions. Do we want to have this one also go in both directions? So you can form this, and then these get blocked off. You don't have to put a black cell there. Ah, but putting a white cell... Sorry. Putting a white cell there and putting a black cell there are both failures. So no, this is probably... I would say that suggests that this is not the right answer. This still has to be true. Okay, what else has to be true? Well, this has to be black, because otherwise we're creating the shape here. Which means this is shaped like this. This is also a white cell. And in fact, this is white cells all the way up to the corner, for sure. What else? What else? What else? We know that these aren't both white, I guess. That doesn't really tell us very much, though. So as below, like these could both extend out to one side. We could end up with this like 2x4 block that doesn't immediately seem to violate anything. All right, what about over here? If this extends along this wall far enough to catch here, then this also has to be white. But like, is there a reason that we couldn't just build this way? Okay, here's something we know for sure. This cell's got to be white because there's not enough room for the 5 to stretch out in the other direction. It's not like a lot of information, but it is information. So if this extends... The way that this block of white cells extends is really important because it shapes what we can do with these other two. If we extend this out to the right, then this can't go up very much further. But we really don't have to use... Like, this shouldn't be all that difficult. We don't really have to use all that many black cells, right? So, like, if we do this thing... We end up locking that in place. And then it's pretty easy to just, like, lock this in the corner, too. This cell has to be white, so all these cells have to be white. Ah, okay. Yeah, this is like my biggest concern here is that I don't feel like I can really see what they're trying to like. I can't see the forward. Oops, sorry. This we knew. I can't see the forward logic of it, and that really, like, I'm worried that it's going to bait me into doing a bunch of guess and check because I can't. I want to see the reasoning. Because we can certainly rule out all of the options by guessing and checking, right? This is a strategy that 100% for sure will work. We know that it will. But that is not everything. If this extends upward, and like this extension is bad no matter what, right? Yeah, this extension, even extension from this 5, locks us into even extension from this 5 to prevent making the shape. And then that means that we end up making the shape elsewhere. Yeah, we do a white here, and then a white there, and then that forces a black cell in a place that makes the shape, makes the forbidden pattern. Okay, what else do we know about this? Like, if we were to just run this down the wall, there'd have to be a black cell there, but that's the only black cell that we'd have to use for that. And then you just don't draw white here. That seems simple enough. Sorry, we have to draw a black cell here too. That makes that necessarily the case. But that seems fine, right? And like again, I'm already in guess and check. Like I don't actually see the logic undergirding the moves. I'm just trying stuff. These can't both be white. That's a thing we know. Okay, this cell is white for the same reason that one was, or this cell is black for the same reason that one was white. That actually is interesting, because that one gives us some immediate information, or the two of them together give us some immediate information. We don't want to draw white here and white there and make this an evenly distributed block, because the places that we then have to put black blocks are well, the places that we then cannot put black blocks are sort of troublesome. Because like if we know this doesn't work, then these two spots can't be either white or black in that case. So we know this is going to extend out to one side 2 spaces, and it's going to be a black cell in the other direction. It's just a matter of figuring out which. If it reaches up, then this one has to reach to here into a black cell, and that forms the forbidden shape there. So I think that is logical proof that this has to be the case. This has to be white, and this has to be white to avoid making the shape. Okay. I think all that's solid. All right, so what does that give us? This 5 over here has to reach out to the left at least 2 spaces, and it might be all 3, potentially. That's true over here as well. We've now proven that this extends like that. So if this extends down, well, it can't. That would create the shape. We're probably going to end up creating another like 2x4 here, would be my guess. And there should be lots and lots of shapes that are safe for this one, right? It's like no matter what, this is white, which means this is also white to avoid making the shape. Yeah, I bet this does end up being another 2x4. I mean, if we just draw... Okay, this is white. At most, this could reach 2 spaces to its right, which would force this to be white, which means this has to be white to avoid making the shape. This has to be white. This has to be white. And then you finished that 5 and that 5. And this has to be black, or else you're forming the shape a couple of times. And then this is white. This is just another 2x4. I'm trying to figure out if it matters. Because like this could be black. Oh, right. With that white there, right, this can't be. And if this is white, a black cell here also doesn't work. So this is necessary because this cell being white makes the puzzle impossible. It's compelling. It's compelling reasoning. These are all cells that have to be these colors, and then this stuff presumably matters. If this is white, oh yeah, right. If that's white, it creates the shape right there. And then for the same reason, these both have to be black. Okay. That one took me a weird amount of time to be able to like actually grasp the important part of. I am surprised to see that there are still logic grids around. I really thought I'd been more thorough. But like I'm saying, there's a lot of puzzle. There's a lot of stuff in the game. All right, don't make this pattern as interesting. Each dark symbol gets each dark area gets exactly one symbol is also interesting. So we know that this cell will be black because this 4 can extend at most one cell either left or right. That tells us actually that all of these spaces are white to avoid making the pattern, which tells us this. That also all must be white. These ones are going to be black, so all of these ones are going to be white, which means this is what's going to happen. It's just going to be a bunch of shapes sort of like all entombed in this way. Right, this is black. So none of those can, yep. These two are black. What a weird little puzzle. And I think, it sure looks to me like it's quite a bit easier than the difficulty level suggested on it. But as I think I've said a number of times in the series for various puzzle games, like, difficulty in a puzzle game is a really tricky thing because a huge amount of people's grasp of puzzles is intuitive, and there's just no way, hey, that's a... No, it's not. I thought I saw a ring in the treetops there, but it's just the distortion of the bubble beyond. There's no way to rate the difficulty of sort of like people's intuitional grasp. Some people are just going to look at certain kinds of things and be like, ah, okay, yeah, I see that. I don't see any more hidden rings up here. 5 puzzles. I feel like we've done so much here and I've been so thorough. It doesn't feel like a big deal to leave an enclave with like 70 puzzles done or whatever. But the fact that we kind of got close, especially with there being so many here, is bothering me a little bit. All right, let's not get hung up on it. Let's head back to the mainland, which is all the way over there. This is the original teleporter. Just bash my face into the ground as hard as possible. Oh, right, because this one had like a tutorial puzzle column. So as you can see, the game still performs like that. Really, really, yeah. Their technical decisions leave a lot to be desired. Okay, so that thing up there is a shy aura. You may have seen that this was one of the puzzle types that we revealed. The deal is there's sort of like 5 different types of logic that these things use for how you can approach them. And the deal is you have to touch them when they're in their sort of circular wafer shape. Some of them will fall apart if you get closer to them while you're looking at them. Some will fall apart if you move too fast, which appears to be this one's thing. Some will fall apart if you make noise on your approach. Actually, this might be a noise one because it seems to have been falling apart at my footprints, at my footsteps. And then generally speaking, they'll reincorporate if you back away from them enough. So if that is in fact one that is deactivated by noise, then the thing we're going to want to do here, I think, is get kind of far away from it and then fly over, because flying, I think, is silent. But I got to find something to stand on that's tall enough. Huh. A monolith fragment. There sure is monolith stuff going on here. No, maybe it is a move too fast one. Well, see, this though is sort of why I didn't think it was interesting to bring people in on the enclave that taught us that, is because like they're all sort of, it's sort of a boring kind of puzzle, and in the end you end up doing the same thing to all of them, which is just like crouching and looking away from them while crouch sliding very slowly toward them. And yeah, it's just boring. It's like not interesting to interact with. How do I get... Here we go. So obviously my current Luminous quest is about perspective puzzles, and I thought that would have meant like a couple of different categories of puzzles, but it seems to only refer to these ones. Because like... Huh. Step on the platform to begin. Oh, this is a ring race thing. Okay. Hooray! Well, this at least got us nice and high. Got us up to an area to, What is this? Oh, it's a sequence of logic grids. I see. Just really, really tightly wound. It's the snake. Alright, we're done with you, lore fragments. Like I said, I give up. I only kind of cared before. So, gentle eddies stir metallic leaves along a path paved in beauty, winding ever higher. Embark on a challenge that favors the cleverness of wing and foot, rather than eye and hand. So, I had questions about these enclaves that appear to be wrapped in bubbles, if they are reachable at all, if they're just like there for background. And it turns out these are in fact enclaves that are designed to be unreachable until you have fulfilled the mainland requirements for them, and then the bubbles sort of fade from them. Okay, so this one's all about ring gliding, which is cool. I mean, I do like the movement puzzle stuff. Like I said, I'd be excited for more of this to be kind of like Metroidvania like, and I think that more explicit movement puzzles are very, very much in that sort of vein. And there's some pattern grids and some sentinel stones and... Yeah, okay. This is pretty straightforward. Let's bounce back out of here. We're going to go to the other location that our quest wanted us to go to. I'm just curious what that enclave is about. But yeah, it's still kind of like the same vibe, the same puzzly stuff going on. Oh, did I just... I ran into an island somehow. Or I think... sorry, we got the tread lightly little one message, which means that what actually happened there was the game thought I fell out of the world. This is even higher still, huh? Well, let's see. Let's see what this one does. Shifting mosaics. So you can see the bubble will sort of like peel away as we approach. It is actually a very neat effect. An easy destination, a tricky journey. Oh, okay. It's the traffic puzzles. Okay, there we go. That's the last puzzle type, right? Okay, I do like these. I like these quite a bit. So this is a cool area to have discovered. Let's do stuff here. So if you're not familiar, oops, trying to bring the exit to the entrance. The basic idea with what I'm referring to as traffic puzzles here is that you have blocks that can be moved around into spaces that are large enough for them to fit into, and we just have to figure out ways to open up spaces large enough to allow us to move obstacles out of the way of the things that we need to bring to the spots. I call them traffic puzzles because one of the most common ways they're represented in physical space is by little square puzzles with a number of like cars and trucks laid on them, and the cars and trucks of course can only go forward and backward, while here we seem to be able to slide blocks in any direction that we can make space for them in, which is definitely going to make the puzzles different. In a lot of ways easier, but I'm sure there will also be places where the extra, the extra sort of freedom can bite you in the ass and create lots of extra possibilities. I think maybe this side. So we have to get... Yeah. I saw the little predator glow of the thing there for a second. All right, don't make that pattern. Well, it tells us some things immediately. All the dark cells have to connect. But if all the dark cells have to connect... hold on, something's not right here. Oh, this is not necessarily... I was like, we can't... one of these two blocks could be black. They can't both be black. So these are still darts counting opposite color cells in that direction. So this one is telling us that 4 of these 5 spaces are black, but it can't be... the white one is in here somewhere. Because otherwise we get the problem. I would assume it's in the corner probably to allow, stuff to stay connected. Only 2 dark cells in this direction, and they can't be these 2. One of them could be. But so we're gonna have to connect through the top to hit those. This will have to be white. This will have to be white, so this could be dark. Yeah, there we go. This area feels like a less cohesive grouping. Leaving the fracture open could be immoral, yet closing it could also be immoral. Eloi, your mind will never be at rest until you find the answer. I too share this compulsion. So like the basic thing going on between Eloi and the Auroral, as far as I can figure, is that like there's this fracture that threatens to consume the universe, but also closing it will change the universe, and to some degree there's like some by changing things, are we not unmaking one thing and bringing another thing into being, and is that a morality? It seems like some very like I'm 12 and this is deep kind of philosophy stuff. They're not doing a good job of, in part because they are keeping it so incredibly abstract with like the unknown, capital U and whatnot, that there's no stakes. There's nothing in the story to hold on to. It's just words. That kind of abstract philosophical stuff is going to be a hard sell even with really great writers, and unfortunately they don't really have that. Oh right, I'm not going through this ring here. Can I get... No, not quite. What if I'm on the other side? Is there just like a little spot where I can see through everything? There kind of isn't. There we go. The armillary rings are definitely, I feel like, getting more difficult as we continue forward in the islands. Okay, so if I slide this stuff over here, we can get a lot of things moved to the side, but we're not going to move stuff enough to the side to let you out of the way. So how do I... If we start by moving everything up, okay, then we can get this all the way out of the way and slide these to the side. There we go. Yeah, those are pretty fun. Those are neat. So we'll just spend a few more minutes here in this enclave then. Oh, here's another one of these. I surely would love to hit a couple more perspective puzzles to finish our Luminous. But obviously the shifting mosaics are the sort of the main course here. So I need to slide. If we do this, we can get this one out of the way partially. Maybe it's like... Yeah, because this will allow us to get this big block out of the way. That leaves a lot of space to work. Thanks, game. I do feel like I have learned. There is just... This bridge just goes to a big wall. Why is... Okay. So, all 8 hidden archways, all 9 armillary rings. There probably are not a lot of leitmotifs here, I'm guessing, given the number on this first objective. But there don't have to be a lot. We only need 3. Alright. Oh, hey. Okay, that's interesting. So we got to make enough room to slide this out of into the leftmost two spots, leftmost two columns. Hold on. Let's get some of these tucked like under here. And then they need to be, only one of them can be over here. Yeah, there's only space for one of them to be over here. So how do we get the other one out of the way? Like, okay, if we do this, no, if we do this, then the yellow block is in the way of everything. Yeah, that's the only way this works. This piece has to be in the top left. This piece has to be tucked under it. And that means one of you two can be over there, but you certainly cannot both. But how do we maneuver such that it's going to end up being the case, it's going to have to end up being the case, that one of these is behind the L. So it's got to be like this. We slide this forward. This comes down. There it is. Easy. Here's the thing about video games. They're all very easy, and nobody has ever had difficulty with one ever. And I'm just continuing that tradition. You know, I hear what you're saying, that it seems like I'm some kind of superhero or something, and I get that. But really, it's... hold your applause. It's embarrassing. How do I do anything? I'm so stupid. How are we gonna wiggle? How are we gonna slide this past here? So having the yellow in the top two rows here at all pretty much locks the puzzle. I need to get this thing... I mean, there's no way to get this piece, unless there's some kind of rotational control that I'm missing. There's no way to ever get this piece past the L. So I need to not be thinking of it that way. That's part of the problem, was I was trying to figure out, like, how do I rearrange this stuff so that this isn't in our way anymore? But that's not actually doable. Have to work with the things we actually have. Okay, so these need to be different colors. These need to be different colors. All the dark cells have to connect. This doesn't seem very difficult. Yeah, okay. That's weird. What a weird puzzle to insert in the middle of the... Okay. Anyway. I wonder, I do wonder what goes into the design of a game like this that is sort of like a disconnected collection of puzzle ideas. Like, how much is it the case that you just end up with a bunch of stuff, right? You end up with like 10,000 puzzles, and it's just like, we got to find a place to put all these. Like, some of them are just going to have to go in spots where it seems like it's kind of weird. You lay out all the ones that are thematically appropriate together. You form the groupings. Your mappers create all the terrain and everything. And then at the end, you still have 700 logic grids left over. And it's just like, fucking, I don't know. Somewhere. Put them somewhere. So this is the only move we can make at the beginning, right? It's just tucking something into that back corner. How do I... So in order to allow the yellow one to move through the space of the puzzle... There we go. We just got to build a little hallway. That's all. This is kind of neat. This little... I feel like we haven't seen an area design that feels quite like this since Oh, hey, leitmotif. What do you reckon? Since, like, the area where they introduced the match threes? Aha. Where are you? Here we go. Oh, wow, there's 6 more of them somehow. Maybe there's more island here than I thought. I think that's kind of always the case, though, right? Like, that's the thing about this game, is it is always more than I was expecting it to be. And that's like part of what makes me want to recommend it, but also part of what makes it such a baffling, I don't know. Why is it like this? Who can say? Some people, I guess. But I can't ask them. So I just ask you out loud over and over again. Hey there, weird little single. Okay, this one thematically makes sense at least, right? So this will have to be black, so that'll have to be white. This will have to be black, so that'll have to be white. I like that it's just a recreation of the puzzles that it's sitting near. That's cute. It's very cute. So I move this out here. I mean, I'm like locking the puzzle up again, right? Well, I suppose I could do this, right? We could create a little bit of extra space to move around in the bottom area. But how... Never mind. I was going to say how helpful really is that? And the answer is it's like fairly helpful. Can I create enough? No, I cannot. I can't create enough space to be able to... How are we going to get... How are we going to get this thing past any of these other pieces to get it the hell out of my way? Yeah, the problem is I just can't, like, with these pieces wrapped around each other, I can't move either of them. And we don't want to leave them like this because it's going to create the same problem over here where I can't actually... But if that's the problem we have, how do I do something with you? These are not difficulty rated, so it's hard for me to know if I'm missing something simple here. There's no way to get this thing past this piece for now. When I do this move, I can potentially get it up behind here like this. That's like almost useful. And the problem is, like, these pieces, they fit together so tightly, there's not... The only way to do this is going to be to bring the yellow piece down from the top right. So maybe the whole thing for right now is focusing on figuring out a way to get it into the top right first. And that is going to necessitate this thing being in kind of a weird spot for the moment. But how would we get the yellow piece into the top right past this thing, right? Like, this is the other question. Because I have to be able to get it all the way over to the right in order to be able to move these two down. They take up this whole half of the puzzle in that dimension in a way that's not changeable. So as long as I can't slide this thing over the full 3 spaces, I can't move that at all. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm feeling a little bit stymied here, a little bit stuck. And I am noticing that we've hit the hour, so maybe this is an okay moment to call it. So this is another glimpse at what's going on still further in this game. It turns out there's just more of it and more of it and more of it. And you saw as we ran past that like little bit of mainland, like it's so packed with 10 million things and other enclaves and new kinds of puzzles and little quest areas where there's like groups to do, and when you do those you get a Mirabilis. There's so many Mirabilises. 51 to get just in the deluge, just in this part of the map. This thing is incomprehensible to me on so many levels, and we're going to keep checking in. This will maybe be the last bit of this that I'll show you linearly. We'll come back again later, but yeah, just baffling. Part of me just wants to document it because it's baffling. That's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, there's still going to be more, because there's always going to be more, because it's infinite. I know that it's infinite, and I know that it can't be, but I also know that it is. So come back for that eventually, and we'll see you then.